So welcome to our weekly 8FM book club meetings on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. And we are continuing on with The Millionaire Messenger by Brendon Burchard. I always, pronouncing his name, there's like an extra R. And I had to actually look up his name, how to spell it, because I always misspell it. And we're on chapter 3, The Expert Calling and Lifestyle. Just loving this book, totally up our alley. So awesome that you recommended it, Via. So this chapter is longer. I was expecting a page and a half, and I was like, 4 pages, or like 5 pages, 6 pages. I was like, oh, I didn't save enough time to read it. So I did skim some, but he pretty much goes through kind of the steps. So I'll just outline quickly the steps that he outlines here. But pretty much he goes through kind of deciding on whether or not it's for you, whether going into this expert field and creating it into an actual career and profession for yourself, deciding on if it's something you want to do. So he kind of has like these parameters. So let me just see how he kind of describes it. Here are 9 reasons I think the expert industry is the finest industry in the world to have a career in. So number 1 is your work is based entirely on your passion and knowledge. So it's really a passion-based business. Number 2, your work activities center on relating and creating. So always working off that feedback. Number 3 is you work anywhere and anytime starting now. So he mentions 4-hour work week, which was a huge thing for us. Number 4, you work with whom you want. So you can choose who you work with. You don't have to, necessarily deal with clients if you really don't like them. Right? You can choose that. 5, your promotions are based on your promotions. Your results are based on your own work, right? How much you go out and promote. Number 6, your pay equals the value you deliver, not the hours you work. And number 7, you don't need a big team, so you don't have to hire a bunch of employees and have this whole big infrastructure to be successful. And then number 8, the tools for success are simple and cheap. So nowadays, you can use a ton of different things and tools. We use Empower, and it gives you pretty much the tools you need with an autoresponder and a blog and training and Capture PageMaker and all of that. Number 9, financial income can beat that of other industries. And there was no number 10. So it's kind of funny he did 9. So those are all, amazing reasons for myself. All of these really are reasons why I got into this business. And why, I didn't really, at the time, understand that I was, the way he describes it as the expert industry. I didn't really realize that I was going into an industry where I was creating kind of like a skill set within myself as an expert, and that I would forever be an expert. That's kind of almost like a mindset shift, I think, especially going from kind of an employee mindset where you work for other people, and then coming into this kind of entrepreneur path where you have to sort of prop yourself up as an expert and as an authority. And, I definitely had kind of even like confidence issues in that, to go out there and to promote myself as an expert, because you have to kind of, you're the one going out and telling people about your expertise. So in a way, you have to go out there and be confident enough to say that, you're creating that authority in people's eyes through showing testimonials or through showing what you can actually deliver to people. And so I know for myself, I definitely had a lot of confidence issues there, and also a bit of shyness to overcome in presenting myself that way. Because in this kind of industry, you have to be the one to go put yourself in front of people. And that's not a natural feeling if you're not used to that kind of thing. So I know for me that was a big thing, but I think it's pretty cool. And the way he describes it, I think it's so cool that, this is kind of like we're in this field, but the way he describes it in the book, it's like he takes, if you think of it from a perspective of he's also selling this book to people and he's providing information to people. So we're learning from it, but at the same time, we're also doing what he's doing. He really compiled information that we know. We all know this. We know these points. but he's charging for it, right? Because he made a book. So it's really interesting the way he kind of puts it together in a way that other people haven't, because he has this simplistic approach to combining it, but it's very, very, very relevant and definitely hits bang on for us as his target audience. So it's kind of interesting. So I don't know if Via, Alicia, or Vicky want to come out and share. Whoever wants to pop out. Any feedback or thoughts?
I just agree. I don't have any feedback.
Via, do you have anything you want to say? I know for sure you do.
Yes, yeah. Well, I'm on both sides. I still have a job, so that's complete different from my Empower business. So I have sort of two phases. When I'm at my job, so that was today. It's 11 p.m. here now. Then I'm totally sort of different than when I'm in Empower and I work and I learn and I study and I make my videos. That's totally different from doing a job. So what I got out of this is the chapter is just share your message with others. But that's the only thing he says. So you're an expert. Yeah, on my job I'm an expert of really something else. But here I have to show myself. I have to brand myself. I have to show myself. So that's totally different. So I'm sort of in two different worlds. My job world and my entrepreneurial world. So mostly it goes together, but sometimes I'm in between. So and it's also make me sometimes a little bit unsure, especially in my entrepreneurial online job. This is not a job in my business. So, but I've learned a lot from the books and I how do you say that? I learned to no, I don't know how to say that. I can say it in Dutch, but you don't understand it. To see the difference between the two things and to make a difference between when you have a job. Okay, when I'm at my job, I have to do one thing. When I'm on my online entrepreneur world, that's totally different. But I like the second one the most.
Yeah, so wonderful. I think kind of like you have that contrast where it's like there's the two different kinds of, so it's like you have your hat that you wear like when you're at your job, and then you have a different hat completely when you're running in your own business. Definitely total mindset shift and a totally different approach, right? Because you have to self-manage and decide what's important, what needs to get done, what's productive. Whereas I find in jobs, sometimes we can be busy a lot, but not necessarily always the most productive. It's like totally different. And even kind of touching on this idea that your pay equals the value you deliver, not the hours you work. And so that changes the game completely, because you're not working by the hour. And us as entrepreneurs, we have to put in that effort in the beginning and that work where we may not be getting paid at all to start, because we're building that foundation and at the same time learning. And we're kind of doing this whole learn, do, teach, constantly learn, do, teach, and building off of our passions, but still having to learn something, right? And it's like, he's talking about, like, he gave examples of people that already had certain skill sets and they took those things and created it, into an industry. Like the woman that organizes, like she was organizing her house and people were commenting and saying, how do you organize your house? And then she created a house organization type of business, right? And this thing actually kind of tripped me up when we read the 4-Hour Work Week, because in some ways, and I will knock it a little bit because it makes it sound easy. It makes it sound like, we read the 4-Hour Work Week, was like, oh, you can figure out this affiliate marketing thing. It's gonna be, you just do this one thing and you sell this product, and it's like that. But there's more involved in that, where, we're learning skill sets here. And if you're lucky enough to have a skill set where you already know you can serve a market, and you know that there's already a need for it, and you already have people asking for it, it does make it a bit easier to get off the ground because you're working off referrals. Whereas if we're getting started in a new business and we don't have that, then there's kind of more hurdles and more things we have to learn. And there's that shift too, where, even thinking of yourself as an expert while you're learning it, that also takes a bit of that mindset shift, because you're not necessarily really that big of an expert yet. Right? You're becoming an expert while being in the expert industry and making money from it. So it's like this trip up, right? And I realized one thing too, like for example, 4-Hour Work Week with Timothy Ferriss, he is really good at marketing. He is excellent in marketing, right? And so he can sell an idea, and he does that really well. And so the idea of selling the 4-Hour Work Week to people happened because he's also good at marketing, right? Whereas we also have to become better at marketing, because for me, I didn't have experience in it, and I had experience in sales and retail and things like that, but a lot of things are not necessarily transferable when you're also learning online tools and doing online marketing strategies. And so it's this funny thing, but it's cool. I mean, it literally it allows you to create whatever you want to create, and it can help you to start with yourself. Even if you have the smallest of hobbies or passions, and you can take that and grow it by learning, then there's no ceiling. You can go anywhere with it, because you can learn everything you need to learn to become even a bigger expert in it, right? And so it's funny, because even for me, like I was a personal trainer, and I thought that I would continue on in the fitness industry because I already had a certain amount of knowledge. But here I am doing something nothing to do with fitness. And I just grew a completely different skill set that I didn't have, because I was really bad at selling. Bad at marketing. I had personal training clients, but I was really bad at getting new customers. And so it's like this funny thing, but I was really good at fitness, and I was really good at training. And I didn't take that skill and bring it online. I just started kind of fresh and went into more lifestyle marketing. So kind of funny, it just makes me think a lot. And the whole idea of the way he describes it, relating and creating. And I know we're always working off feedback. Any feedback we get from our leads, prospects, audience, whether negative or positive, is always a way for us to adapt and constantly give people what they're looking for. And that's been, for me, one of those big things to have to learn and adapt to, where, in a job setting, it's like, you do this and that's what you have to do. You have to just get this done. And it's you don't have to turn on that. I mean, depends on what your job is, but you don't have to so much turn on that problem solving part of yourself, right? Because it's not really that many problems to solve necessarily where you have to be intensely creative. Depending on your job, I know some jobs are really, really creative. But for me, my jobs were not like that. And so coming into this kind of setting, pushing those creativity buttons in my brain and being more of a problem solver, constantly being solutions focused, was a big thing I had to adapt to. Because your brain just goes to mush, constantly trying to figure things out. And then there's more things to figure out, right? Because you're constantly learning, and then there's like a roadblock, and then you got to figure it out. And then there's another thing you got to figure out. It's like a technical thing or a conversions thing. And so it took me a long time to do that, to like shift into this being okay with being like a forever problem solver for good. And it was almost overwhelming at first, because I was like, when will this end? When will this problem solving end and it'll just work and be easy? No, it's always going to be that kind of thing, because we're always solutions focused. And being online too, things are always changing. Social media platforms are changing, tools are changing, right? So we have to be able to be adaptable. And he definitely has that here, where you can see that you got to be okay with that change. And yeah, so those are just some thoughts of my own. I don't know if anyone wants to pop up. Bia, I don't know if you have any feedback on that.
Yeah, I recognize that. When I first started online, I had no clue. I was not technical. I didn't hear of an autoresponder. I didn't know what a lead was. I didn't know whatever. I was a complete newbie. And what I've learned in the time I've been online, I'm an expert now. I'm far above another newbie who doesn't know anything when I started. So I'm becoming a little bit more technical, more and more. I can build my own sales funnels now. I never thought I could do that. And I can, so I've learned a lot. So I'm far ahead of someone who just started like me a little while ago. So becoming an expert is also a process, and you're right, it's sometimes overwhelming, but I like the creativity to think about, and sometimes I think too much, but you have to work for yourself. You have to make your own decisions, and you are not depending on someone else, a boss who talks to you, who says you have this and that you have to do. So I like to read these books and to develop my skills. So I think I'm an expert on several things now. When you compare it to someone who starts online today and don't know what an autoresponder is, don't know what a lead is, don't know how to generate a lead, don't know how to build an audience, how to get leads, how to make sales. So I think we are all experts here now.
Yeah, and it's amazing though, because it's like, because like this is that thing. I think we downplay, because you're saying you're sort of technical, but someone else that's never done it would see you as massively technical, because you can build a sales funnel, you can do all these things, and to them that's like a different language, right? And it's like this crazy thing, because we also, like, this is that thing too, where how we perceive ourselves. And that has to change, because as we learn and as we adapt new skills, we can tend to forget how far we've come and how much we can really actually help people. Because another person might look at us and think that person is like major expert. Like, I mean, you have thousands of followers on Instagram. You know how to build sales funnels and build an email list, all of this. Like, to another person, it's like, that's like on a different planet, right? And so it's like that ability to express that to people. Like, even for me, like I was kind of like the other day, Lawrence was saying something about how it was on a hangout, and I'm not a numbers person. I like, when it comes to math, I'm afraid of math. I don't like numbers, I don't like math, and I've always thought of myself that way, that I'm not good at math, that I'm more good with like language and things like that, because I took English and history, but I'm not good at math. And I remember when I first started and got on a call with Lawrence, and he's like, what are your numbers? What are your conversions? And I like went blank. My brain went blank. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And then recently on the hangout, he said something like, you're very, very logical, more than most people. Like, that I'm more logical and numbers oriented than most people, but I still think I'm not. I don't identify myself as a person that's extremely logical or numbers based, right? So it's like this funny thing, because we have to shift and adapt with our skill set and our perception of ourselves, because we need to tell people and let them know, I can help you with this. I can actually help you with this because I know how to do this. It's actually easy for me. But, to another person, we forget it's not easy for them. And so we have to always remember how far we've come, right? Like that's, that's something that I think maybe a lot of people almost struggle with, where they forget, because we're always focused on learning more, and we're always focused on what more can I do? What else can I do? What else can I learn? We forget how far we've come and how many people have not, and how that is consistently our target audience as we continue to grow. And so we kind of build out, we're almost building a wider and wider audience as our skill set increases. But we forget about that expanse of the audience that we're building, because we can help people on so many levels. Like I think the cool thing here with Empower is that the skill sets that we are developing here, it's like we're a master of all, because we're not only learning, lead generation. We're not only learning how to create a capture page. We're not only learning how to build an audience. We're learning multiple skills, right? And it's like this wide expanse of skills that are relevant in the online space, that can help people, even if you just focus on one aspect of it. Like easily you could help someone build an Instagram account where they're not even thinking about conversion, right? Or easily help someone create an autoresponder, or easily help someone do videos. It's like, we have these little pieces that we can all go into as an expert. And it's just this amazing thing. I think it's really cool. So, come on, Via, if you have anything to
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you. I'm now on Facebook groups because of the Facebook audience building training. And I'm in a group with women who are entrepreneurs. But when I see their struggles, their problems, I think I can help many women in that group, because they're all online. They're all building their business, multi-level marketing or their own business or whatever it is. But when I see their problems, where they're struggling with, I think we can help a lot more than I ever thought of. And that's what you said with little things, building an audience. That's the first step. They only throw their links out to their family and friends, and they don't know what they are looking for. So I totally agree with you, Kat. And I think we are an expert on many things, and we can help a lot of people out there. And when they're in business or not, I think we can do that. So
yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, I'm the same. I forget too. Like recently I've realized that, because traffic is easy for us and I forget that it's not for most people. It's like one of those things, and it's so easy to forget that. So even in our messaging, it's always important to remember it's one of those things. It's always so important to remember what it was like when we started. So always go back to that and reference that, because then we can know what we're constantly solving for people. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting journey. So thank you so much, Via and Alicia and Vicky, for coming out. Appreciate you on. If you're watching the replay, thanks for watching the replay. So next week, we're going to dive into chapter 4, You Advice Guru. And thank you for awesome discussion as always, and see everyone next week on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Bye. Thanks, Kat.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.